Hi guys, welcome back. It's Miss Eden with you for another recipe. This week we're going to be making healthy burgers. Now a lot of people will associate burgers with an unhealthy choice, but as long as you have a source of lean protein, a wholemeal carbohydrate and some added veggies thrown in, it can definitely be a great option for a midweek meal. This week we're going to have a choice of either a meat burger, you could use chicken or perhaps turkey mince, or if you are vegetarian or vegan then you can make a bean burger. So let's get ready for practical or mise en place. Let's wash our hands, get an apron on, put our hair up, sanitize our surfaces, ready half a bowl of hot soapy water. We also need to preheat our oven to 180 Celsius or gas mark 5, and we are going to go through the ingredients now. So for your burgers, whether you're making a meat burger or a bean burger, there's a few things that we share in common. So we're going to start with half of an onion. I've chosen a red onion because they can be eaten raw, they're a little bit crunchier, a little bit sweeter, but a white onion will be okay otherwise. We'll need a small carrot and half of a courgette, a little bit of fresh parsley or coriander if you have it. If you don't, then you can just use dry instead. We'll want 1 to 2 cloves of garlic and a little bit of salt and pepper for flavour. Now at school, if we are making this dish, then we have food processors and we can use 2 slices of wholemeal bread. You want them to be a little bit stale, a little bit dry. You could leave them out overnight or you could toast it on just the lowest setting. If you don't have a food processor, if you're making this dish at home, then you could use commercially bought breadcrumbs instead. We'll also want to have something to really bind and glue our burgers together. So that's going to be in the form of an egg. Now if you are vegan, I am going to go through in just a moment an option for something called a vegan egg. We'll see about that in a sec. If you're making the chicken burger, then you'll want to have 2 chicken breasts. Now if you're making this at school, our big food processors will handle it fine, but I'm at home and my little food processor definitely won't. So instead I'm going to be using turkey mince, which is a great option instead. If you are vegan or vegetarian, then you can want a source of beans, so kidney beans or cannelloni, also known as butter beans. So as I mentioned, if you are vegan, then obviously you choose not to eat eggs. Now eggs are really good because they have a protein inside which coagulates and creates a kind of jelly mass which holds things together and act like a glue. If you are vegan, then you could come up with one of these alternatives. Now you can use flax meal. Now I only have flax seeds at the moment, as you can see, but if you have flax meal, then you can make a flax egg. Or if you have chia seeds, then you can make a chia egg. So you can see I tried to use my flax seeds and they haven't really worked very well, unfortunately. You do really need flax meal, although I can see there is slightly more viscous than water. But hopefully you can see how thick and gelatinous the chia seeds become. So very simply, you want to have 3 tablespoons of water into a container and 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, which is then thoroughly mixed in. They like to float and clump a little bit, so you need to give it a really good mix. Whether you're making a flax egg or a chia egg, I would recommend that you leave it for about half an hour to an hour before you create these burgers. So I'm going to start with the meat burger, and because I have my mince, I'm going to demonstrate how we could prepare these burgers if we don't have a food processor. Perhaps we don't have one at home. So to start off with, I'm just going to open my mince and empty it into my bowl. So next we're going to prepare our onion. Now if we don't have a food processor, then all we want to do simply is just to dice it as finely as we can. So first of all, we need to cut it in half, remembering that it's pole to pole, not around the equator, okay, like so. And then we want to remove the stalk. Let's make sure we're holding our knife in the right way. So 4 fingers on the side, thumb comes down like a magnet, an extension of our arm. I'm going to use the claw and cut off the stalk, put that in my bits bowl. Now I can peel it. And now I'm going to finely dice it. So I want to put 1 or 2 cuts, depending on how confident we are, into our onion, making sure our fingers are right on top, away, so we're not going to cut ourselves should our knife accidentally slip. And then we want to cut columns facing up towards our root, tip of the knife all the way down. The closer the columns are, the better, particularly for a dish like this. So take a little bit of extra time, just making sure that the columns are as close together as possible. As you get towards the end, you're going to struggle to hold on to it with your claw, so you can revert to the bridge, but just being extra careful, tip of the knife all the way down, minding our thumbs. There we go. Now we want to dice it towards the root using our claw, holding on to it to stop it from fanning out using my pinky thumb. And again, try and make your dice as fine as you can, because this is going to make all the difference for our burgers. Otherwise we might end up with a mouthful of very oniony burger, which wouldn't be quite so pleasant. There we go, a very fine dice ready to add to my bowl. Now I've placed my 1 to 2 cloves of garlic, my peeled garlic, into my garlic crusher, and I'm just going to crush everything in. I'm going to cut it free very, very carefully with a knife, and then with a teaspoon give it a wiggle around, maximise the amount that you can get out of it, and then cut the excess free. Next I want to grate both my courgette and my carrot. In this case I'm not going to actually peel my carrot, although you certainly could. I'm just going to make sure that I've washed both of the outsides very thoroughly. So either way, I would recommend that you leave the tops ready to hold on to for when you are grating it. That will keep your fingers clear. So we want to hold the grater by the top, not by the sides. We want the large grate side, not a zest or an intermediate or a slice. So using full length up and down, let's grate both our carrot and our courgette. There we go, and I've just got the tops left to go in my bits bowl. From here, what I would recommend is to try and drain off a little bit of the liquid. The courgette and the carrot are going to be make for a very, very wet mixture, and if we can remove a little bit of the excess moisture, then that would be ideal. So with either some paper towel or with a very clean tea towel that we might have at home, then we're just going to press out some of the excess water. So I'm just going to open this up, tip this into my tea towel, and then just give it a really good press and squeeze just to try and get rid of some of the extra moisture. Oh, you can see how much is coming out. There we go, so it's a fair bit drier now. A lot less liquid, which is going to be ideal. Obviously with your tea towel at home, you'll just need to put it in the wash now. For my parsley or my coriander, I just want to bundle it all together, roll it all up like so, get it all together into sort of a little tube. There we go. And then using the claw, I'm going to chop it as finely as I can, just moving my fingers backwards slowly as I go. This is why we need to use the claw, because the worst that would happen is that I might catch the back of my fingernails. There we go, nice and finely chopped. So I'm nearly there, just going to add a good pinch of salt and pepper. I'm going to add my egg by taking a butter knife. I'm going to hold it in my non-dominant hand, the back of the knife, one good hit in the middle to prevent having to break up lots of shell, and then I'm going to pop that in. And I'm going to add, in place of some bread, I'm going to add about 50 grams of commercial breadcrumbs. And now for the good bit. So now's the opportunity to mix it all together. So start off with a spoon, and then we will get our hands in to form it into patties. So that took a good long while to mix everything together, but it's nice and consistent now. So what we can do is we can just get our hands in and we can ball up the quantity that we want in order to make a nice little patty ready for our baking tray. Now you don't have to do this bit, but what I'm actually going to do to make sure that they're really even and consistent is I've actually got a 1/2 cup measure, and I'm going to take my 1/2 cup quantity, so I know it's always going to be about the same, and then I'm going to ball it up. There we go. So I managed to get 6 perfect, beautiful burgers out of that. Now they can go in the oven, making sure we're wearing an oven mitt to put them in and take them out. They're going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes until they reach 75 degrees Celsius. To make the bean burgers, the first thing we need to do is to open the can and drain the liquid. So I'm going to be using red kidney beans. Not only are they nice and soft, but actually the colour sort of gives a suggestion of quite a meaty quality. So in order to open the can, we want to make sure that we can get our fingernail or perhaps a butter knife just underneath the pull. Push back. Get your index finger, the meaty part of your index finger, through the loop. Thumb goes into the middle, hold onto the can and just pull backwards like so. Then move your thumb to the back of the can and continue that pulling action. You might just need to give it a little wiggle, there we go, to get it free, just making sure you're going to hold onto it and stop everything from flying forwards. So grab yourself a sieve and drain the liquid into the sink through your sieve. Now because I only have a very small food processor at home, I'm actually just going to blitz each of the ingredients in stages and then add to a bowl. But otherwise you need to follow the recipe for if you've got a big food processor. Either way, what we want to do is make sure that we're finding the part that's going to click. Now the container should click into place as well to make sure it's secure, and the blade on there as well. So close it until it clicks, and then you'll know that it's safe to use. And then yours probably has a dial on the side, mine just got a little button, and you just want to blitz it. You don't want to puree it, okay? You don't want it to be smooth. So just blitz, and maybe just get a little spoon in there as well, just to encourage it around. Now next is the onion. If you don't have a food processor at home, then you can just dice it, and I go through that in the meat burger if you just want to re-watch that. So otherwise, we're going to just cut off the stalk and the root. We're going to peel the layers of skin off, and then just using the bridge, just cut it into a few small pieces, like so, sort of 4 to 8 pieces. And then I'm going to blitz it. So easy. Now I want to blitz my bread in my food processor. So I'm just going to do one slice at a time because mine's very small. So I'm going to tear my bread, pop it in. I'm going to add my small bunch of parsley or coriander or my dry herbs. You might want to add, for a little bit of heat, some chili powder. about 1/4 teaspoon if you don't like it spicy, about 1/2 teaspoon if you do. Or else some mild curry powder. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon. I have my 1 or 2 cloves of garlic and a good pinch of salt and pepper. Make sure that the lid is fixed until it clicks and then blitz it all. Now, at home you could either grate your carrot and your courgette, or you could chop them into small pieces and then blitz them as well. And now to my mix, I'm going to add my chia or my flax egg. Now with a spoon, I'm going to mix everything together, really get it combined. Now we're ready to make them into patties. So you can certainly just pop your hand in and take a quantity. You want to ball it up and then sort of flatten it off and place it in your baking tray. What I'm going to do, just to make it a bit more consistent, is to take this 1/2 cup measure that I have. I'm going to fill my 1/2 cup, like so, and then I'm going to do the same thing. So ball it up, place it in my baking tray, and then just flatten it down, like so. So now I want to place them in the oven using my oven gloves to put them into the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes until they are just golden brown. Those turned out really well. What a great option for a family meal, particularly if you're vegetarian or vegan, or if you just want to substitute meat for at least one of your meals in the week. Make sure you pair it with a wholemeal bun perhaps, and definitely a side salad or some extra veggies in your bun. And I hope you enjoyed making that with me this week. Catch you next time.